No, we are live. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. We are part of the board for the Bay Area American Indian Two Spirits. My name is Jamie Go Thomas. I am Chickasaw, and I'm going to let each one of us introduce ourselves.
My name is Roger Kuhn. I've been a board member for about 9 years. This is my 9th powwow that I've been assisting with as well, and I'm a member of the Porch Creek Nation.
Hi, my name is Jim Eagle, and I am a member of the Sisseton Wahpeton Oyate of the Dakota people of the Sioux Nation, and I am current chair of the board.
My name is Melia Beal. My heritage is Putupechen and Pequotese Pueblo, and I'm the current interim executive director of BAAITS.
So we're so excited for BAAITS Powwow this year. It's been fun because we've been able to plan a whole week schedule for our 10th anniversary, and it's amazing that it's our 10th year because little did we know when we first started that it was just going to continue to grow and grow and grow. So we are so grateful for everybody who's tuning in to us right now tonight, and who's going to tune in to us throughout the week and accumulating on Saturday. One of the things that I would like to do first is I would like to acknowledge a lot of hard work that has been done behind the scenes by each and every one of us. But most importantly, we also want to honor someone here tonight, and I'm going to turn it over now to our board president, Jim Eagle.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Again, Jim Eagle. And what we want to do tonight is to honor Roger, who is done a tremendous amount for the board. He's taken us up several levels, having been the board chair prior to me, and having nurtured and cared for and cried over a lot of powwows in between that, the prior ones. And so we really do want to honor him. I remember when I first met Roger at through the BAAITS being on the board, and I was always amazed at his level of knowledge, his skill, his singing ability, and then he has just tremendous amount of talent. And then it's always complemented by his wonderful husband as well. And he is a hard worker and somebody who's very passionate. I think somebody who's far more passionate than I am. But having said that, though, I certainly we are very sorry to see him go. But he has left the board in a position that is strong. We have brand new board members on board, largely due to him as well. And we're in a good position, and that's largely due to all his work. And so I feel really proud to be able to take over in with a solid foundation. So thank you very much, Roger, for all your years of 10. I think it's 10 years, right? All your 10 years of blood, sweat, and tears, right, as they say. And I don't know. I haven't seen the blood, but I've seen the sweat and the tears. I know that, but not the blood. So we wish you luck. Please, I know you have to stay a member of the community within San Francisco, in the Bay Area. I know you have to stay a member of the community, so that's already given. But as you go into your new adventures, I know that you're working on your PhD. I don't know that you quite have it yet, but I know that you're working on it. And there's almost, right? Yeah. And then so there's just a lot of things ahead of you for you, and we're really behind you on all that. And we'd like to continue to use you as a resource, and with all your two-spirit education and knowledge that you've passed down to not only myself, but I know all the other board members in our constituency, all our Bay Area Native American people. So thank you very much. Amelia?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think another thing to highlight is really your investment in two-spirit academics and scholarship. And so that's another thing that we hope that this represents for you. Where is your lovely partner? Oh, there you are. So behind you, your partner will present the gifts. But first, Londa?
Little did you know, Roger, those many years ago when I said, come and join us at Bates, that eventually you would become one of the co-chairs and at times just the only chair and lead our organization. We're very proud of the work that you've done. And, when we were trying to find something to give you, this was something that sort of spoke to us. And we felt like it was something that you'd really appreciate. I was looking for a Porch Creek blanket. I didn't find one, so. But right now, we'd go ahead and ask Sean to go ahead and present it to you.
Oh, thank you.
Show us.
This is the brand new blanket created by Geo Neptune, who's a two-spirit artist.
Wow. Okay.
This is beautiful. Thank you all so much. I'm incredibly shocked and touched. A moment ago, Sean was like coming in here, and I was like, I'm about to be on a live call. Like, I had no idea this was going on. Thank you all. Thank you.
Of course. You've put in the work, so we just want to say thank you in our way as well. But before we go into the documentary, though, we would still like to talk a little bit about some of the things that are happening this week. One of the things that I feel like you were sort of instrumental in, even though you didn't necessarily work on it with your hands, is the SNAG night, because you're very focused on the idea of sexuality within two-spirit people, which is something that we often skip over because I think people think of us only as spiritual beings. And sexuality and eroticism is all a part of that. And so we've created our first SNAG night, which is going to be really interesting. I'm not going to be a part of it, of course. I've been married off for years. So. But it's a great thing, and I just want to say, that's partly inspired by your work.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I strongly believe that part of two-spirit healing is pleasure. Pleasure that comes from community, pleasure that might come from relationships with partners, pleasure that might come from sex. And all of it is just a way in which we heal and a way in which we continue to prosper as people, because, the eroticism is just a synonym for creativity. And I just know every two-spirit person I know is so incredibly creative, which means that they all harness such amazing erotic energy.
Wow, there's so many things that I could say about that. I'm going to choose not to.
That's another time. That's another panel.
Yes. So Amelia, do you want to talk about your night in particular on Thursday?
Oh yeah, so we're partnering with ClockMap, which stands for Queer Women of Color Media Arts Project. I think this is really significant because it's the first time that we're able to partner with ClockMap and show an hour, 60 minutes worth of shorts in an asynchronous viewing capacity, which is pretty special. So it's a poetry literary reading, so mixed media poetry interspliced with some shorts, and then everyone in attendance and afterwards will have access to 60 minutes of films, which are going to be, you can view them on your own time, which is going to be really special. And the poets that we are featuring are really amazing, up and coming, and I'm looking forward to you also everyone getting to experience their creativity and what that means, and also just their brilliance. So yeah, it's going to be a sweet night, and I'll be sharing a couple of poems as well.
When you say sharing their creativity, does that mean nudity?
It does mean nudity, yeah. It does. The first short is we have a little disclaimer in there that there's some nudity at the end, so be prepared. And then the second short is a narrative, a 14-minute narrative that's taking a different look at Two-Spirit identity. And that short in particular was produced 10 years ago. So it's significant that it was made 10 years and we're in our 10 years. So that retrospective, I think, is going to be nice for the audience.
Yes, thank you. And Jim, do you want to also speak about some of the talking circles that are going on? As we know, sort of like there's a pandemic that also exists just within the LGBT community in general, and that pandemic has a lot to do with loneliness, and it has a lot to do with suicide. And so we're constantly like looking for ways to present suicide and things like that. And so when we're putting this together, Jim with his cousin Lenny were able to create these spaces, particularly looking into our dynamics. So Jim, would you like to talk about that?
Sure. And then I'll talk about the interview with Lenny as well on Friday at 3 o'clock our time, or Pacific Coast time. And but the Two Circle is largely actually Amelia and Lenny put that together, and it's a great venue. And when is it again? On Thursday, Amelia?
Noon.
It's at noon o'clock our time, Pacific time.
Yeah, BAITS.org will have the most up-to-date information.
Okay.
Yes. Every day this week is something's going to happen at noon. There's going to be an activity at noon. Okay. I think on Thursday or Friday we have a little more of a crowded schedule with multiple things happening. But for the most part, every noon and at 5 p.m. you can expect something coming out for BAITS.
Right. So anyway, there's a talking circle with Lenny Hayes. And just to give you a little background for anybody who doesn't know, Lenny Hayes is also a Two-Spirit educator as well. And he actually has 3 master's degrees. And so he that's actually what he does for a living. He actually goes to tribes and nonprofit organizations and puts on presentations about Two-Spirit education. And also, as well as he does sexual abuse seminars as well. And he is a therapist on his own. He has his own clientele, and he does many talking circles throughout the week for Two-Spirit people. So there's several that exist already, but he chairs a couple of them throughout the week as well. On Friday, I'll actually be interviewing with him as well. On Friday, like I said earlier, at 3 p.m., he will be talking a little bit about his work with men and boys in sexual abuse, especially from Native American men and boys, and as well we'll be talking about missing and murdered Indigenous women. He has some work that he does with that as well. And then lastly, he'll be, after the interview, he'll be doing a self-care workshop. So the last 45 minutes of that will be a self-care workshop. Again, as you were saying earlier, Londa, that we're in a pandemic. People are kind of cooped up, and people are very close to each other, and so he wants to make sure that that he can facilitate a workshop that really does address Two-Spirit people and self-care.
Great. Speaking of working, we are. So we're gonna say bye to Roger. We're really
bye everyone. I do have to go. I'm a therapist, and I've got a client at the moment. And so I just want to say thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Landa, for your vision in creating the powwow with Ruth so many years ago. Thanks, Jim, for your leadership. Thanks, Amelia, for your leadership. To the community that's watching tonight, enjoy the documentary. It's been an honor to be a part of a leadership in BAITS community. But as Miko said, and Jim said, I'm not leaving the community. I'm still a part of the community. I'm just stepping back for a little bit. So great to see you all. And thank you for this. That means the world. I appreciate all of you very much.
Thank you, Roger. Now, Amelia, do you also want to talk a little bit about the drum going on Friday, the hand drum contest?
Yeah, so the hand drum contest is going to be on Friday, starting at 5. It's going to be kind of like a 2-part event. We're going to have people join into the Zoom link and be prepared to have your hand drum and a song, and then the judges will be there live, and you'll be able to have a hand drum contest in that moment, in which case we'll transition over and have a bit of some drag performances, which I think is going to fill the rest of the evening. And so look out for details on that showing up later in the week on the website.
Okay. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about, or should we just go right into the movie?
I think the last thing I'll say is, there's the food event, and then also the second Talking Circle is more of a story sharing space that's happening tomorrow. And just, as much as you can be engaged, we want you to, and as much as you need to go back and experience in an asynchronous fashion, so on your own time, we're going to have uploads where it's appropriate of the events to watch in that fashion too.
Yes, and most importantly, we want to invite everybody, of course, to come to the powwow itself. It's going to be held at noon here virtually, and we're going to have our MCs. It'll be the same MCs that you've come to know from the Bates powwow. It's Elle Frank and Coy. Coy McLemore. Sorry. It escaped my brain.
I just want to say that I saw the documentary over the summer. It was actually playing on PBS, and I actually watched it I was flipping channels. I just happened to be home flipping channels, and I saw it, and it was really wonderful. And I actually show up, Amelia, you show up, and I show up, and of course Yolanda. But I actually show up in little snippets and here and there. So it was fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I'm going to say is that when you see all the dancers and everything, we actually invited back our normal host drums. So you're going to have Southern Pride as our host Southern drum, and we're going to have for our host Northern drum, it will be Blue Medicine Well. They've been with us for, I believe, the last 2 years, and they're a great group. And I would probably say that more than likely you're going to hear a lot of Blue Medicine Well, more so than any other drum this weekend. So I look forward to it.
Coming out on the res was not an option for me, being that I was so young. As a part of protection, I just played it straight.
It's very difficult, I think, for gay, lesbian, transsexual people to come out in the Native American community because they're very, very conservative. And with the growth of Christianity in our Native communities, they've become a lot more conservative.
Also, my powwow community that I grew up around, they turned their backs to me.
Do you think that's going to make you want to come out? No, it's not. And that's why we still have a lot of suicide on our reservations. I want it to be different for that next generation.
My mother and my father had a conversation. He was having a real hard time with me accepting me being gay.
There were other people that were telling me that you cannot get involved with the Two-Spirit community and expect to be accepted in the straight powwow community. That was the first time that I had seen that fear or prejudice. I said, you know what, that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Two-Spirit is basically a Native American who identifies as LGBT, but is reclaiming the traditional role within their Native communities.
Bay Area American Indian Two Spirits. It's a gay Native organization that has been around 15 years or so. Some Native people saying to me, well, why are you so openly gay? That's not the Native way. And I was like, well, my therapist told me I needed to be out. But it was the Native way. We just have forgotten about that.
What is a powwow? Wow. It's a neat opportunity to have so many of the different tribes to gather, to sing, to dance, to show off your new regalia, show off your new dance moves.
Powwow is a gathering of our Native and non-Native people, where we as Native people come to the circle and we dance, we sing, we socialize, we eat the foods, we support the vendors that have come from all over the place. And there are powwows, which are gatherings nationally throughout the United States and Canada every weekend of the year.
The only thing that really separates our powwow from other powwows is the fact that the committee that puts it on are Two-Spirit people. Besides that, we have a lot of straight people that are dancing too. We have children in the Tiny Tots division. So we have a lot of diversity. There's a pride that a lot of people felt, especially when they saw for the first time that gay flag going in at a powwow. When you fall under that Two-Spirit umbrella or that LGBT umbrella, you don't always feel as welcome in certain spaces. So we wanted to make sure that we had a powwow that would be open, arms open, come on in, join us. We're putting on a powwow that's for the community. It just happens to be put on by a Two-Spirit committee.
To my knowledge, the BAAITS powwow is the first and only two-spirited sponsored powwow that exists. There are a lot of two-spirit gatherings all across the United States, and they have a powwow as a part of what they do, but it's just a small aspect of the larger gathering. But this is specifically a powwow that is also all-inclusive, so that our allies and our families can come and participate.
For many of us, we knew that we were not necessarily safe in a regular powwow. We kept feeling like, wouldn't it be amazing to have something where we could invite all of the Two-Spirit or gay Native people we knew throughout the US to come, and we would also invite all of our allies, and we would talk to them about what it meant for us to be in this environment where we could be safe.
Since I grew up dancing at a young age, it's just something that I just did. We used to travel every weekend to different powwows throughout the country. And so, yeah, it was just growing up. That's just what we did. Coming out on the res was not an option for me, being that I was so young, like 16 when I was on the res. You know, as a part of protection, I just played it straight until I was independent at age 19. To then come out to my family. It was a lot of hard years that I went through because rejection from family, and also my Native community, powwow community that I grew up around, they turned their backs to me. And so many years went by that I just felt very isolated. So I left the circle as far as that powwow was 14 years ago. When I came out as being gay, it was not very well received, and so I quit dancing.
BAAITS decided that because people are coming from across the US to be part of our powwow, we would have a little social event the night before, potluck.
Here, we're welcoming you to the BAAITS pre-powwow social kickoff bonanza.
We had never been to powwows here in California before. Going into a new tribe's community, we don't know how they're going to be. We don't know what their culture's like. You know, you don't want to be disrespectful. You don't know what to expect. And so you're always a little apprehensive about going to a new place. We didn't know what the gay community would be like. All I knew is what I see on TV about gays in San Francisco or gays in California. I was scared to death. I was so worried. I was like, oh my gosh, these people are gonna hate us.
To get people to meet each other, we decided it would be really great fun to have a hand drum competition.
We have big prizes tonight for the hand drum. First place, $100.
We got here and the gay community was extremely friendly. The Native community was wonderful, and the gay Native community was great.
She looks so fine, I thought I'd drop her a line. I hope she felt the same. She turned me down and asked for my sister's name.
One of the important aspects, I think, of our Native community is being able to laugh. And one of the ways we do that is through these kind of funny songs that we sing.
The powwow committee, first year we thought the location would suit how many people we would have. And I started going to various powwows and I said, oh, BAAITS, a gay Native group, is going to be sponsoring a powwow. And some dancer said to me, why do I want to come to this powwow? I'm not gay. And I said, because it has nothing to do with that. It's a gay group that's sponsoring it. We're welcoming everybody. I was a little nervous. I kept thinking, we might not actually get dancers. We might not actually get a lot of people. This might be a really small powwow. We used the LGBT Center that year. So imagine the day of, all of a sudden, all these people started to appear.
That first year was powerful. It was so packed. And I mean, Two-Spirit and straight allies, just the excitement, that filled the air, that first one. Everybody was out having fun. And it was so neat to see people that I've never seen dance before, just being themselves.
So the next year we decided to get a bigger space.
Welcome everybody to the Two-Spirit, second annual Two-Spirit powwow.
And I want to thank all of you for coming out to the BAAITS powwow. No, really, for coming out. Hey, yeah. Aho.
And once again, we didn't have a large enough space. We attracted so many people. So then the next year, we got a bigger space.
Grand entry for the third annual BAAITS powwow underway. How about a big round of applause for all our Eagle Staff carriers, flag bearers, making their way into the arena. Thank you to our court dancers right behind.
We have to move to a different facility each year because it's getting so big.
This is our biggest venue ever by far. It's probably 6 to 10 times as large as our last venues.
Cal Palace, what a great venue. It's huge.
We've done a really great job of advertising, so we're really excited. There are a whole big crew's going to turn out, but it means we got to keep the aisles clear. We would love some help, so we would love to put you to work.
We had the South Hall all to ourselves.
For us, every year, the morning of, we walk through thinking about how the layout is going to work, whether that entrance and exit or all of those things are going to work.
To see the support that they've had, I think even they have been surprised how much outside support from the Native American community that they've received.
It is an honor to have this many people here at this powwow, the 4th annual BAAITS Powwow. All dance categories, all drum contests, the registration is now open.
The atmosphere of a powwow is pretty exciting.
I think we'll have a couple more minutes and then we'll start the grand entry. In the powwow world that we live in today, this is how we do it. We have what's called a grand entry. We're grand. We want everybody to see us in our regalia. We also have the staffs and the flags behind the staffs. Those have meanings to us. They're very sacred.
At the grand entry, when all of our flags are going in along with our eagle staffs, you'll also see the rainbow flag. The rainbow flag is very important to us, the Two-Spirit Committee, because it reflects who we are.
Again, we ask that you stand in honor of the staffs that are coming to the arena and the flags.
For some people, it was actually very emotional. It's a big thing because it means that we're a part of the whole, we're a part of this community. And so there's a pride that a lot of people felt, especially when they saw for the first time that gay flag going in.
Bring them in the arena.
When you see that rainbow flag be a part of those native flags, be a part of those eagle staffs, it's pretty amazing. You don't really see that at other powwows.
So you see a big diversity at a powwow, not just of people, you also see a big diversity of the styles. There's a lot of different styles. So you have the jingle dress, which is a very pretty dance, and then you have women's traditional, then you have the fancy dance, and then you have men's traditional. You have like this whole smorgasbord of people from all over, especially for me coming from Oklahoma, where, you know, I would go to a powwow, I would see primarily just plain style dances. It's really interesting to come and see. It's quite different.
A powwow can be very pan-Indian. A lot of the dances represent multiple nations of people.
The powwows started east of California because we're the furthest west. Well, the Hawaiians would differ. California, we did big time and little time, which is very, very, very different. There are no contests. The regalia is troll as opposed to a more neon of powwow, which that's become. Nothing against powwow. It's just a different thing and a different people's. They use drum, and most of us didn't have drum like that. Powwows are something that California natives for a lot of years used to join in because so many of our peoples were rubbed out, and we still had the need to dance and to sing and to be a part of the world that way. For BAAITS, I really love the group. If they have an event, they always try to have if it's in California, always try to have a Californian in the right place to represent California.
There are several Ohlone people. We're on their land. There are several Ohlone people throughout the audience here. We're going to have them come out and do a blessing for us.
I am Kostonoan Ohlone and Shumash. I am Mutsun, and which is down in the Hollister region of the South Bay Area, and I'd like to share with you a traditional song in my language.
Because they always try to do correct protocol.
I want you to know that there is some protocol that happens at powwows. There are specific protocols that happen at all powwows. I will go over a few of them.
Because there was no protocol about what gay Native people were really like, it's time that we start really writing what that protocol means to us.
So I think it's very important that we embrace the truth about ourselves and our own identities by putting together this Two-Spirit powwow. And our protocol, of course, is just slightly different. Those of us who've been to a powwow, you know, you always have like the women's dances and the men's dances. For one thing, we don't just have a head man dancer and a head woman dancer. This year, we are going to have a head Two-Spirit dancer.
I've been an MC since 1996. Diane and Ruth asked me, what do you think about a two-spirit powwow? And I said, that would be great. The decision to make gender-neutral contests, it's unique, but you know what? This is your powwow, Bates. You guys do what you want.
You can have your powwow. I think I said that from day one.
There were other people that were telling me that, you know what, Earl, you cannot cross that line and get involved with the two-spirit community and expect to be accepted in the straight powwow community. That was the first time that I had seen that, whether it was fear or prejudice. I said, you know what, that's at risk I'm willing to take. And sure, I lost a few jobs, you know what, but I didn't care.
Because there is this whole protocol around how an MC even works, if it's not traditional for a woman, how do we learn those ways of running a powwow unless somebody is willing to teach a woman that?
Introducing our co-MC, L. Frank Manriquez, right here. L. Frank.
Earl has just been really great in that he was happy to sit side by side Al Frank.
All right, introducing our head man.
So it really is a great honor for them to ask me, and I try very hard to pay attention each time they've asked me.
I'm just proud to see a woman MC because that's so different. You don't see that at other powwows. So it actually felt even more safe and just unique to go to a powwow and see that.
To us, it was really important to have both Al Frank and Earl as our MCs.
Isn't that right, you guys?
5, 6, 7 years ago, San Francisco State asked Al Frank to be their MC at their powwow.
I was asked to be MC, and at that powwow, minutes before it started, they threw me out.
But when she was starting to set up to be the MC, some of the male drum groups said, wait, if you're going to be the MC, we're leaving because that's not traditional.
Which it's funny because an MC says, well, here are your lost keys, and the raffle's going off in 10 minutes. And they said, no, a woman can't do that. They can't be anywhere near the drums, yet there were 2 women drums, so it was just this funny cultural mess.
Well, Al Frank's an amazing community member, and she decided she needed to let the powwow happen. Earl just happened to be there. She talked to Earl, and Earl said he would step up and be the MC, but she would, sit near him. After that, I just felt like we need to have Al Frank be the MC.
So that's why Bates inviting me to do this was a bit controversial for them.
Our MC is Al Frank.
The raffle booth way down to the left, way down in that direction. Raffle.
They stood tall with this one and invited me. Even with my protestations that I don't know anything about powwows.
Gotta go down and check that raffle. I think they're raffling off 2 Humvees, 3 Chevys, and 1 Ford Ranchero. So head on over to the raffle bar.
I want one.
I think Bates is really just breaking out of the box and just showing that things don't always have to be this one way, that there's other ways of doing things.
You will see today in this arena very beautiful regalia. I heard somebody say earlier, a costume. It's not a costume, all right? This is their regalia or their traditional clothing.
It took me a whole year to make my new regalia. And so all year long, I was beading and sewing and getting it all together. I guess that's the difference between a costume and a regalia. There's a lot of meanings behind them and how we treat them and take care of them. And even making a new one from scratch, there's all those hours of thought and stories that are involved when you're making. So it's a whole process that's done throughout each regalia. And so that's why we really respect them and hold them true to our hearts. For a grass dancer specifically, the most traditional piece we wear is our head roach, which is made of porcupine hair. And we place that on the top of our heads here. We have a shirt with an apron and then a pants. It'll have the yarn on it, which is symbolic of the grass. Our moccasins, bells, cuffs, armbands. 2 front drops, and a belt with side drops. A shawl is significant. It symbolizes Mother Earth. Everything that grows on top of Mother Earth, the trees, the grass, is all the fringe from her shawl. I do beadwork. I also do embroidery, you name it. It's a lot of processes to making a regalia.
Again, it's called regalia. All right.
Time to register dance right over here at the table, right to my right.
We're welcoming everybody, and there's contest money. That's always a draw.
Contest. All you dancers, get ready. We're going to go right into your categories at this time. All right, thank you, judges. Those judges are some of the most judgmental people I have ever met. Going into our next category, women's fancy and jingle.
A lot of people think that they come out to contest against each other. I want to beat this other dancer. I want to do better. The competition is really the dancers versus the singers or the drummers. The key is stop when the singers stop. And if you overstep, you know, a lot of dancers disqualify themselves. They step out of the arena.
All right. Good singing, good dancing.
You always have a lead singer and a second. After the second singer starts singing, then the rest of them sing. These guys travel the powwow circuit, one powwow to the next, competing in drum contests.
Every year, Southern Pride, they come thousands of miles to be with us.
It was important for us to make sure that we invited Southern Pride, and they come from Oklahoma and they drive.
We traveled for 36 hours and we just drove straight through and traded drivers. And we traveled all over the United States with our drum. Unfortunately, we can't fly because we had that big drum with us, you know, so we have to hoof it.
Southern Pride is a Oklahoma family drum that has a history in our Two-Spirit community.
BAAITS contacted us and said, hey, you know, we're thinking about doing a powwow. What do y'all think? You know, I don't think of ourselves as like an all gay drum, but we're an all-inclusive drum. We also have a lot of our family who are not, who come and help and support us as well.
We've been very honored to have their whole family come and just represent. Wade's mom has just been supportive to so many of us. She's kind of like a mother to all of us. Even though many gay people sit at Southern Pride, they still follow a family tradition that says women don't sit at their drum. We don't want to be disrespectful to them and argue about what's traditional or not. That is their tradition. But we had a lot more women's drum groups, so that's controversial.
For even me to see the women's drum is something unique and to me new. Redefining what is one's place at these powwows. BAAITS again drives that question into people's minds.
Being a woman who sits at a drum sometimes, I do know that we feel that we're blessed to have an actual drum that we can sit at.
One of the most active programs for BAAITS is the BAAITS drum. It's been a learning experience and we've come a long way. We were a little scared to even come out to the powwow, but we're really happy to share some songs, and we're especially there for Two-Spirit people and their allies. And we've had some wonderful teachers, including Phoenix. We gather twice a month.
We are BAAITS Two-Spirit drum. Many of us could not sit at traditional drums that were mostly men's drums, and so we wanted to learn the songs and sing the songs. We had a drum made for us so that Two Spirits could learn the songs. As Two Spirit people, we're part of the community, we're part of the circle, and it's important that we reclaim those parts of our traditions.
We come together, we'll sit at that drum, we'll sing songs, and we pray. Really thinking about when we sit at that drum, are we doing this in a good way? Even if it's singing fun, tiny tot songs.
Tiny Tots, take it away, Bates.
Indian people, we've had so many things happen to us that have been bad that laughter is how we cope with things.
We're gonna have a duct tape special and a stoic Indian contest at 3:30. So all you stoic Indians and duct tape contestants, stand by.
A duct tape special is people who are not in regalia have to create their own regalia right then and there. Out of duct tape, cardboard, plastic, just whatever's around. Duct tape special is not brand new. It actually comes from up north, but we pulled it in to our powwow to make it really, really fun.
You must create your dance regalia out of cardboard, duct tape, paper, tablecloths, and tin foil.
Remember, if you're a stoic Indian, come on out to the arena and line up.
And at the same time, there's another contest running called the Stoic Indian Contest. You'll have a line of people that the duct tape special is going to dance in front of, and they can't smile. They cannot smile, they cannot laugh, they have to remain stoic. But if you crack a smile, then you're out.
Duct tape dancers, if you'll all go on out and try and shake up them stoics. Remember, if anything falls off from their regalia, don't touch it. You don't know where it's been.
Laughter is healing. And so to us, that's why you'll find and you'll see a lot of laughter happening in Native gatherings.
For me, I've experienced a lot of really wonderful things, but I've also experienced a lot of homophobia in our community.
It's very difficult, I think, for gay, lesbian, transsexual people to come out in the Native American community because our communities are so close-knit. As a Native person, being a part of a community, you don't want to stand out. You want to be a part of the group. And they're very, very conservative. And with the growth of Christianity in our Native communities, they've become a lot more conservative. I know for a lot of Native people who come out in their community, it's very, very hard for them. I myself have been very fortunate because most of my family are very traditional. So they know our traditional ways about how we think about two-spirited people. So they supported me when I did come out.
I saw an incident that happened at a powwow here in the Bay Area. There was a transgendered Native woman who, by some people's standards, were not very passable, but I thought she still looked very beautiful. And she was out in the arena dancing, and one of the MCs called her out in front of everybody, literally stopped the powwow and said, "You need to leave, you're being disrespectful. You're a man, it's obvious you're dressed in women's regalia, get out right now." And it was really sad. That woman left the community and never came back.
There's some tribes that forget that people who were two-spirit were even a part of their tribe. You have elders that sometimes will say, "Oh, we never had people like that in our tribe." And then you have to actually look back and find anthropological evidence that it was there, and it really was.
It's really about re-educating our own people about what it was to be Two-Spirit and reclaiming our traditional role within that. So education is really key.
BAITS is really honored to have Sheldon approach one of our BAITS members at a Two-Spirit gathering in New York. He had already known about our powwow.
I saw that they were doing a powwow on Facebook.
He shared the story about when he was young, he was a dancer. And then unfortunately, once he came out gay, the community pretty much ousted him. And he stopped dancing for a while. And it definitely hurt his mother so much that she even stepped away from the community.
My mother was always kind of just in between with everything, She loves me and she's just caught in between the two.
And then as he started to feel better about being who he was, he decided he wanted to come back into the circle and become a dancer again. And when he did that, his mother started to heal also, and she decided she wanted to come back as a dancer.
I came to the powwow because my mother had her coming out dance there.
Where's Sheldon at?
And he asked, could his mother come out as a traditional dancer at our powwow?
Coming out means you're saying to the community that you are announcing that you're a dancer. And so it's kind of your initiation back into the circle.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to BAITS. Today is the debut of my mother, Ina Cynthia Brings Plenty. We're Cheyenne River Lakota. She came all the way from the Cheyenne River Reservation to be here with you all.
I flew in the night before, came all the way out for her.
To be here with all of you is a dream come true right now. Less than 4 years ago, my mother and my father had a conversation. He was having a real hard time with me, accepting me being gay. And my mother said to him, "That's my baby. I carried him inside me, and we gave him life. This is a gift from Creator. We don't throw our people away. It's not our Indian way to throw our people away."
Her coming back into the arena there, that's a big thing. By her making the stand and doing it at the Two-Spirit powwow, that's a very powerful message, I think, to traditional people.
And I ask, if you know this dance, to come out and join us in the arena and dance my Ina into the circle after 40 years.
My mother came out and showed her support. She received all the information she needed to know about what is Two-Spirit, what is the history of the Two-Spirit people. And she got all of that and then some.
She's requesting that all mothers come and join us, please, and our Two Spirits, because you're also a part of this hoop. Each and every one of us is a part of this sacred hoop of life.
And she asked other mothers to come and be in that circle to support their Two-Spirit children.
What they did was her showing her support for her son and through him for the whole Two-Spirit community.
So for us, this journey really has been about our own healing and also helping the community heal.
Remember that our vendors are open. Our vendors are open.
It's an interesting thing that people have decided that fry bread needs to be a part of every powwow.
Fry bread, I guess it's a staple at powwows. It's not the most healthy, but it tastes good. But
Gosh, fry bread, that's what it's all about.
One of the most deliciously unhealthy things that you can find at a powwow is the fry bread.
There's just nothing better in the world than fry bread. And so to have a good piece of fry bread is like having a good memory,
When the United States was putting us onto reservations, they allotted us rations.
Flour, water, sugar, Those are the commodities that the federal government would give to Indian people.
So the women turned that flour into fry bread. I give you a historical perspective, which is not such a nice one, but it is honest.
Because so many non-native people want to experience fry bread, each year the fry bread line seems to be getting longer and longer.
A lot of different things we can do with that fry bread. Indian tacos.
And some people stood in line for 2 hours, and I remember talking to someone who said it was so worth it.
Then you have res dogs, which is fry bread wrapped around a hot dog.
So they were enjoying standing in line to finally get that delicious fry bread.
And meat pies are pretty much like fry bread with meat on the inside.
Sometimes it could be a dessert type of thing.
I would like to see more meat pies. Hello, Oklahoma Indians.
This is a major powwow, and I'm so honored to be here and to be asked to be the head Two-Spirit dancer. I'm very humbled by that, and it's a new thing in welcoming us back into the circle. So I'm super excited, and I have lots of love and support here.
For the first time, we have a head Two-Spirit dancer for the BAAITS powwow. Sheldon Raymore, come on out. Head staff, lead the two-step, please. It's follow the leader.
A long time ago, our Two-Spirits were just a part of camp life. They were a part of our community life. And it needs to be that way again, like it was, like it used to be. And to have a venue where our community can come into the gay community and bring their children is extremely important. And 10 years down the road, we'll see, because those little kids, they're not going to think it's anything weird to see a transsexual dancer, or to have a two-step where two men can dance together, understanding what that Two-Spirit role is. So it's just a natural part of life for them.
Guess what? If you're a youth in our community, you know, you're feeling like you're gay, but you're not sure what the stigma is, and you're not sure if people are going to embrace you or they're going to make fun of you, and you hear somebody making fun of a gay person, do you think that's going to make you want to come out? No, it's not. And that's why we still have a lot of suicide on our reservations. And so I know that partly why I'm drawn to all of this is because I want it to be different for that next generation.
I advise any people who are questioning if they're Two-Spirit, and also parents of people who question if their child is. There's so many support groups that you can go to online. We have a lot of social media out there like Facebook.
I hope that events like the BAAITS Two-Spirit powwow will continue and will become the new aspect of our powwow culture. Because in our mainstream powwows, they're starting to entertain that idea, you know, but it's still not done.
For 4 days and nights, Rainbow Crow flew higher and higher.
I use the example of my mother, which is very recent, for her to understand and respect and know what it is to be Two-Spirit and be an ally now. I look at that progress, and it all starts, you know, planting the seed and then watching things grow from there.
So bring honor to the people and share the gifts Creator has given you.
As Native Indigenous people, we've survived through so many changes. And in these changes, there's going to be changes in the music, in our regalias, in our song, in our dances. But the origins are still there and important. This next song is a crow hop. We're going to put a little spin on it, though. The challenge is if you're still able to dance the crow hop to this modern song. Come out, everybody.
Okay, everybody come out and dance. with our head two-spirit.
Come on out and move your feet.
We can influence and be those role models for those younger people, being very active and visible in our community and showing the greater community that gay Native people walk in a good way. It's something that shows we feel proud of who we are. And we want that to transfer to youth on the reservation who are questioning, will be proud and be able to know, oh, wait, I know some gay Native people who are really proud of who they are. I want to be like that.
I would like to personally thank the BAAITS committee. We ask that you go home, wherever home may be. And you tell your people about this powwow and bring them with you next time. I know next year will be even bigger and better. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and dancing with them. They really appreciate it. Ho! The potato goes on your forehead and your partner's forehead. As the drum is beating, I will tell you to put your hands behind your back, your hands above your head. Other things to do. If your potato drops, you're out.
Potato dance. Don't be shy. You've all seen a potato before.